November 20th, 1917. Hundreds of British tanks roll through Cambrai, France. Machine guns tear through infantry. German artillery shells flip tanks and bury men alive. By the end of the day, tens of thousands of troops will be dead. But let's change one thing. Instead of clunky Mark V tanks comes something different. An M1 Abrams main battle tank. A 70-ton giant dropped into battle. Nearly 75 years too soon. Gas turbine engines scream like a jet. Armor forged from composites and depleted uranium. A 120mm smoothbore gun that obliterates. So what happens when a single modern tank goes head-to-head with World War I, Germany? Is it enough to change history? Will it make an impact at all? Or is it just one tank against the military might of a country? First, let's take a look at what we just sent over 100 years back. The M1 Abrams is powered by a 1,500 horsepower gas turbine engine, the kind you'd normally find on a jet aircraft. This monster drinks jet fuel. It can hit speeds over 40 miles per hour, which is absurd compared to World War I tanks. Its armor is a classified blend of composites and depleted uranium, shrugging off most modern weapons. And then there's the firepower. Its primary weapon is the M256 120mm smoothbore cannon, firing depleted uranium or tungsten sabot rounds at hypersonic speed. Against a Mark V tank, unstoppable. Add a coaxial machine gun and a roof-mounted .50 caliber. The Abrams is a mobile apocalypse. But Germany isn't about to make this easy. At Cambrai, the Germans had deep defensive lines. Trenches reinforced with concrete bunkers, belts of barbed wire, and heavy machine guns waiting. Artillery batteries sat behind the lines, ready to rain hell on any target. Their infantry carried Mauser rifles and potato masher grenades, while field guns provided devastating firepower. Against the British Mark V, these defenses were brutal. But against an Abrams, things get interesting. 6:20 a.m. The first German machine gunners opened fire, stitching lines of bullets across advancing infantry. In the historical battle, entire platoons were wiped out in seconds. But today, a thunderous crack. The Abrams fires its first high-explosive shell. A concrete bunker disintegrates in an instant. Machine gunners who once commanded no man's land are vaporized in a single strike. The tank switches targets. A German strongpoint hidden behind sandbags and barbed wire vanishes. Troops nearby are thrown into the air by the shock wave. The ground shakes like an earthquake. Soldiers accustomed to slow, clunky tanks have no frame of reference for this raw violence. At 6:45 a.m., German officers scrambled to deploy field artillery. The 77mm gun had been the backbone of German defenses, deadly against British tanks. Crews swing their cannons toward the Abrams and open fire. Shells scream across the field and smash into its armor. But the impact is meaningless. Designed to withstand modern sabot rounds, the Abrams' composite armor shrugs off. World War I steel is like pebbles against a battleship, and the tank doesn't even slow down. The Abrams responds. A single round of armor-piercing ammunition smashes into the German gun position, turning the cannon and crew into a fireball. Where British tanks might take hours, the Abrams eliminates them in seconds. Infantry rushed forward behind the Abrams. In the real battle, British troops had to clear trenches by hand, fighting room by room with grenades and bayonets. Now the Abrams coaxial machine gun breaks the line, spraying thousands of rounds per minute. Trenches collapse under continuous fire. German troops who once stood their ground break and scatter in panic. Horses bolt from the noise, carts overturn, and officers scream for order. That never comes. 7:30 a.m. The Abrams rolls into the heart of the German defensive line. Normally, this would take British forces most of the day. Now, the ground shakes as its treads grind through. Barbed wire, crush trench walls, and roll straight over machine gun nests. Soldiers trapped in dugouts, buried alive. As the tank passes overhead. 8 a.m., German reinforcements arrive. Squadrons of stormtroopers, the elite assault troops. Charged to plug the breakthrough, these men had been feared across Europe, trained in infiltration, equipped with flamethrowers and grenades. Against British tanks, they were often decisive. But against the Abrams, not simple. Grenade shrapnel bounces off the armor as flamethrowers splash harmless fire across steel plating. That won't buckle at anything less than 1,500 degrees Celsius. And with every turret rotation, another squad disappears. In a burst of machine gun fire, German commanders try their last resort. Heavy artillery. Massive howitzers fire from miles behind the lines. Shells the size of bathtubs arc through the sky and smash into the ground around the Abrams. One detonates just a few feet away, tossing mud and metal high into the air. But the Abrams grinds forward through the smoke. Its suspension absorbs the impact, and its armor holds firm. Where a Mark V would have been ripped apart, the Abrams keeps moving. 9 a.m. The British breakthrough at Cambrai has already surpassed anything achieved historically. Trenches that once cost thousands of lives to capture are gone in under 3 hours. German positions crumble under relentless shell fire. The Abrams uses its .50 caliber roof-mounted machine gun to mow down fleeing troops, scattering entire companies. But we do have a problem. The Abrams is an apex predator, but it's also a hungry one. Its gas turbine engine burns fuel at a rate unthinkable in 1917. 60 gallons an hour, and it only carries enough for about 250 miles. Under modern logistics. Here, there are no supply trucks, no JP-8 fuel, and no mechanics trained to handle its engine. The British refuel their Mark IVs with gasoline refined from coal. That fuel, full of impurities, would destroy the Abrams turbines. In literal minutes. The tank still fights, but the gauge runs low. Every shell fired and every yard crossed drains its reserves. The Abrams clears another bunker line, but the end is near. Fuel is almost gone, and ammunition is running low. 11:30 a.m. The engine sputters, the treads slow, and the Abrams sits still. An immovable steel fortress. For a few hours at Cambrai, the Abrams was unstoppable. It dominated, saved thousands of British lives, and terrified the Germans into retreat.